One of our favorite things on the show, and we've got a number of good things happening today, is when we get emails from our viewers across the country and emails from our listeners across the world about companies they want us to interview. And of course, we interview everybody from celebrities to authors to purveyors of Funyun products to publicly traded companies. And every so often we get to talk to a CEO. But this time we got a CEO and a chief technology officer at the same time. His name is Ryan Melsert. Ryan Melsert is a guy that runs American Battery Technology Company. They are publicly traded under the stock symbol ABAT. They are constructing the first of kind commercial scale facility to manufacture what is called battery metals, or what are called battery metals. And we're so important. He enjoys us here. Ryan, how are you, sir? Great to have you on.
Great. How are you today?
Hey, good. Can you just first define for us battery metals? I don't think I've ever heard that before. It seems like it would be some sort of a recycle sort of stage along the way for batteries. Am I accurate on that?
Whether it's recycled or for virgin metals, when you make a battery cell for vehicles for home use, there are a lot of different metals that go into it. So they consist of lithium and nickel and cobalt and copper and aluminum. Those are the ingredients that are sold to a battery manufacturing factory to then be made into batteries themselves. And we look at the cost to actually make a battery. The manufacturing of the cell itself isn't especially expensive. It really is the purchasing of those metals that really drives the majority of the cost to make a battery cell.
So it's sort of a circular supply chain, is what you're entering into here, I think is how you put it. But let's talk about the resources here, because of the battery. I mean, there's always been this talk about what are their lithium-ion batteries, or car batteries, or batteries for your flashlight, or even for your cell phone. There's always talk about having that you guys out there could make a battery that'll last for 50 years. But why would you? Because you want to have planned obsolescence so you can sell another battery. Talk about that whole Twin Peaks sort of conspiracy theory that I bring up there.
Well, I think it's different than something like a hydrocarbon. When you make a hydrocarbon, whether it's gasoline or diesel, you use it once, you convert it into CO2 water in the air, and it's not used again. But for batteries, these are elemental metals. So these elements are never created or destroyed. So essentially, when you use them to make a new battery, at the end of life, you really have every element you need in the exact right ratio in the exact same location to make a brand new battery. So yeah, you really don't have to have batteries last indefinitely, because the elements themselves do last for quite a while. Another big thing is, I think people underestimate how quickly battery technology is changing. Yeah. Every 3 to 6 months, you have brand new types of materials coming out, big increases in energy density and charge rates. So essentially, if a battery is, say, 5 or 10 years old, you could recycle it, break it down to the individual elements, and rebuild the same materials back up, but into a much higher performing component to take advantage of that technology gain.
Ryan Melsert, the CEO and Chief Technology Officer, American Battery Technology Company, their ticker symbol ABAT, with us here on the Big Biz Show. Ryan, your company, your technology, are you reducing that carbon footprint, reducing what it takes to get those metals out of the earth in other countries, not just the United States?
Definitely. That's our whole goal. So it really is. There are 3 different attributes we're addressing. So right now in the US, there are dozens of factories making electric vehicles, dozens of factories making the batteries that go into them.
Yep.
But there's almost zero capacity in the US to actually make those metals that go into the batteries. So almost 100% of the metals and the refining of those metals is done abroad, mostly in Asia and China. So if you think of security of supply, the US building dozens of multi-billion-dollar battery factories and being almost 100% reliant on the feed material. It's just very risky for those factories not to be able to have domestic control of their own materials. Separate from that, we can make metals at lower cost through our recycling and primary technologies and importing them. And the third is, yes, it's much lower environmental impact to make them in the US under stricter environmental guidance and have much shorter transportation distances, where we don't have to ship those materials throughout the world. So we're a little bit different than most companies, where we really see that better recycling has to exist, so that once materials are out in the field, you can close that loop and use those elements indefinitely. But you also have to fill that loop the first time with materials. So our second business unit is we've actually developed technologies for how to manufacture those metals in the US from US-based resources. So we own large amounts of land in Central Nevada that has a lithium-bearing resource. We developed our own technology for how to access that lithium and how to make battery-grade components that we sell to the market. So we both have our recycling unit to keep metals in the field, and then this low-impact process to actually make the metals from U.S. resources in addition.
Love it. He is the CEO, Chief Technology Officer of American Battery Technology Company. He is Ryan Melsert. Ticker symbol is ABAT. So,
Hey, Ryan, I saw an announcement this week, and I want you to explain that because it's kind of a pretty big announcement. It seemed like when I read the news and read the press off your website, it had something to do with successful manufacturing of demonstration scale quantities of lithium hydride. I'll let you say the rest of it. But bring us up to speed on that.
Definitely. So there are companies out there that do research where you can make really small amounts of material, vials full of material, more university level, and that's great. But to actually make an impact and get it to market, you have to make much, much larger quantities. So a few years ago, we designed this process for how to take our own lithium-bearing clay material, process it to recover the lithium, convert it, and make it into a battery-grade product. We did that at the laboratory scale a few years ago. We actually were able to apply for and win a grant from U.S. Department of Energy to then take that process and construct a much larger facility to be shown to be done at scale. So we're processing hundreds of tons of material.
Wow.
In a demonstration scale facility, making this battery grade component, and then making such large amounts of material, we actually ship it to automakers and they test themselves.
jeez.
So we built this plant a few months ago. We just got our first kind of product last week, and we're now making large amounts of these materials we can send to our customers.
I'll tell you what, I want to have you back because there's much more to talk about here. Ryan Melsert is his name, CEO and CTO. That's Chief Technology Officer and Chief Executive Officer of American Battery Technologies Company. Their stock symbol ABAT, ABAT. You can go to AmericanBatteryTechnology.com. We'll have you back, Ryan. Thanks so much for the time. Yeah,
That was great.
saving.
Definitely happy to